Hey, how's it going? And today we are going to be exploring what an actor component is and how you might be able to use it. In this particular example, we are using it to create location-based text messaging, or you could use it to display any kind of message or something like that. So we get something that looks like this, where I have my player and I'm in the scene. Let's say I'm walking around and I'm come to a certain area, and then I get a message. I should be getting a message that I'm on the north side right there. And then the message goes away and I walk over here and I get a message I'm on the south side. And of course it just goes back and forth like that. I'm just using this as an example of an actor component. So I'll be back in just a minute and we'll get started. So I'm back and we're in a third person template. An actor component, really you can think of it as a way of storing functions and data that can be compartmentalized and then attached to any actor that you want. It's almost like combining a function and structure together where you can store data. You can also store functions in a limited blueprint and then attach those to actors. And an actor component is very similar to a scene component. It's just the actor component is only the functions and the data. It does not have a physical representation in the scene, whereas a scene component has a transform and a physical representation in the scene. So the beauty of this is you can write some functionality or some data and put it all together, and instead of rewriting it all over the place, you can just put it in a component and then attach that to any actor that you want. So to get started with that, we're going to make the component first, just the shell of it. So we're going to go to Blueprint Class, and we're going to click actor component, and you'll see it says what it is right there. An actor component is a reusable component that can be added to any actor. So it really should say a reusable blueprint that can be added to any actor, because that's what it is. So here, and I'm just going to call this viewport component because that's what we are going to be using it. We're also going to go ahead and create a user widget really quickly, and we'll just leave it called new widget blueprint here. Go user widget. So we'll just go canvas panel and drag that onto the scene, and then I'm just going to get some text here and drag this down here, and then with it selected we're just going to drag this over here like that. We'll go ahead and on the font increase the size a little bit like that. We'll go ahead and size to fit. Then we're just going to jump over into the graph here, and we're just going to create a text variable. So we're just going to call this text, and it's a text data type like that. We can make it public if we want. Compile and save, and then we'll jump back into designer view with our text block selected. We're just going to come up here and go bind. So we're going to do a property bind here. And that's all we have to do for our user widget. So we've got our actor component here that we're calling viewport component. We have our user widget. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to jump into our blueprint third person here and attach that viewport component. So up here where it says components, we're going to go add, and we're going to search for the viewport component that we just made. And it's right there. And we can save and compile and save, I guess, again. And that's all we need to do in our blueprint third person. So I can close this, and I can actually close the widget. And I'm going to go back on the content folder here. And all we need to do now is create a blueprint that will serve as a trigger device. And we need to create an interface so that we have some way of our two blueprints being able to talk to each other. Because we're going to have our trigger device communing by way of the interface to our viewport component, which is also a blueprint class. So we'll use an interface for that communication to occur. Let's go ahead and just make the interface. So I'll just come into blueprint here, go to blueprint interface. I'll just leave it called new interface. I'm going to double click into it. I'm going to just go ahead and dock it for a second. We'll just leave this called new function. And we're just going to add an input here for text. So I'll click that little plus sign. I'll call this text 2. Oops. Call this text and set it to text. And that's just so that we can send data along the way. And we will we're done. So we'll just close that and our interface is done. And now we're going to go ahead and make our trigger device. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and create a blueprint actor, and I'm just going to leave this. I'll call this BP underscore trigger device. And let's just go ahead and click into it, and I'll go ahead and dock this up here. And we're just going to search for a box collision here. With the box collision selected, I'm just going to go to on begin overlap here. And then we're just going to make a connection to our actor component. So we're going to drag off of other actor here, and I'm going to search for get component, get component by class here. And then I'm going to select the viewport component here. It's right there. And then off of here, we're going to hook up with our blueprint interface here. So it's going to say, hey, somebody just stepped on me. And that's going to be sent to, that message is going to be sent to our interface, which will then communicate to our component. So I'm just going to right click here, and I'm going to search for, should be under new interface right here, new function. And you'll see there's our text input there. And we actually need this to be a input variable. So I'm just going to promote that to a variable, and I'm going to make it instance editable. Click there, compile, and save that. And we'll enter the text once we put this into the scene, so we're not going to worry about that. And then all we have to do is put this into here and return value into there. And that's all we've got to do. And we'll compile and save that. And then the very last thing that we need to do is just build out our actor component here. And this is really the star of the show. So remember, with blueprint interfaces, the principle is that who's ever on the receiving side of the interface needs to implement it. So in this case, the trigger device is going to be sending a message to our viewport component, our actor component, and it's going to say, hey, somebody stepped on me. So what we got to do is come up here to class settings and just implement that interface. So it's called new interface, and we just click here, comes in right there, new function, double click on it, and you'll see it's an event, and the event is I've been triggered. So all we need to do here is just get our player controller, and what this actor component really is going to do, it's just going to be in charge. The functionality that we're creating in it is essentially we are just displaying and removing the user widget, and then we're also acting as a conduit for the text data. So that's all we're doing. But rather than rewriting this functionality every time, we can just create it once and then attach it to any actor that we want. Here we just need to get the player controller. So we'll go get player controller right here. And you'll notice it's going to be at index 0, which is our player's index. And then off of here, we can just go create our widget here. And this is going to be our new widget blueprint right there. And we just hook this up here like that. And then we're going to go ahead and set our text. So once we have that reference to our widget, we can go set text here. Like that, right there. And then this simply hooks in here. I can drag this. I can put a reroute node here just to clean this up a little bit. And then just put that in there. And then we just have to add it to the viewport. Add to viewport here and put this in here like that. Then I'll create a delay here. A delay of just 4 seconds, however long you want the message to be on the screen essentially. And then once that's done, we can just go ahead and remove from the viewport, and then remove from the parent here like that. And then this just plugs in here like that. And that's the whole thing. And then this plugs in, of course, like that. We can reuse this as much as we want now. So we are essentially done. We have everything done. I'm just going to go ahead and save all. Hopefully this will work. Go ahead and just drag it into the scene, I guess. If it's in the scene, what I've got to do is I've got to come here and set the auto receive input to the player 01. I'm going to hit the space bar, and we're going to go ahead and make this trigger device a little bit bigger. And you can resize this as much as you want. And then over here, we just add our text. So I'm just going to say something like, this is the north side, like that. And that's it. And then I can drag another one wherever I want. I'll just put this over here. We can size it up, customize it to the location wherever we decide to put it. And here I'm just going to put, this is the south side, like that. And we need to adjust the input here too, like that. And go ahead and save all that. So let's go ahead and hit play. And there I'm in the scene, and I walk over here, and it says this is the north side. And then it goes away. And if I walk over here, well, I walk back over, it's going to say the north side again. And if I walk over here, this is the south side. And then it'll go away after 4 seconds. I come back over here. This is the north side. So it seems to be working just fine. I'll hit escape and see if I got any errors. Let's see, escape. Nope, no errors, so everything's fine. So anyway, that's an actor component, and this is just one example of how you can use it to control your display. And rather than having to rewrite that code all over the place, you just write it once and then attach it to any actor that you want. So anyway, I hope you found this helpful. Take care, have a great day, and I'll talk to you next time.